Hello and welcome to another episode of Inter Club India podcast, where we talk everything Inter, the previews, reviews, transfer market, and everything in between. Getting to the match, like what a shit week it has been. We drew against Shakhtar, no goal scored, and then 2-2 against Parma, 2 points dropped, no clean sheet again, and same old mistakes, no winning mentality, no consistency, no finishing. Like, what is going wrong with this team? Conte was supposed to be the guy who will guide us to the trophy this year, and looks like we are not even going to be contenders halfway into the season. Maniche, I'll bring it to you. Like, what has gone wrong all of a sudden?
Hey everyone, and welcome to all the members of Inter Club India and worldwide. Once again, it's Maniche here. Yes, Gautam. So, like you said, it's been a depressing week. Really sad, really upset. I think this is our second. We had just had two wins in matter of 6 games. That shows what bad state we are in. So, I don't know the tactics side. Is it Conte's issue? I don't know exactly what the problem is, but I definitely think if you ask me, it's down to the mentality of players. Conte needs to work on the mindset of players. That is the biggest weakness I feel. Because if you talk about tactics, we are creating chances. We are creating numerous chances. If tactics was an issue, then we wouldn't have create. But we are creating chance after chance. But I think like Mourinho's time when we had Mourinho's a mastermind. He would motivate people to that psychological level to boost their performance. That is what Conte has to do. Conte pretty much has to talk to each and every player individually, make them feel a part of the project. Because right now, if we check, Lautaro's head is messed up, Brozovic seems offbeat, Nainggolan, I don't know what's wrong with his mind. So individually, like a lot of problems we are facing. So I think the issue is the mentality. We should improve on the mentality of players. Conte has to work on that level psychologically because formation wise, I don't know what more can we do. We're creating chances. The next game again, if we create chances, it's good. But we're failing to score. And Lukaku, we cannot have just one focal point. We just have one main guy, Lukaku, and the team cannot be built on one guy. It brings me back to the olden days where you just had Christian Vieri, one guy scoring all the goals. Uh, it's pretty much the same way now. Depending too much on Lukaku, pretty much that's a very risky ploy because teams figure that out quickly. If they shut down Lukaku, the team is out. So I don't know what. If you ask me about the tactics, we just have two main focal points. One is Lukaku and one is Hakimi on the right. That's our pretty much attack mode for all these games. So opposition, obviously, they can figure it out. They know if we shut down Lukaku, if we shut down Hakimi, then the team will struggle to play. So Conte has to, you cannot depend too much on Lukaku. We have to build around. We have so many quality other players. We had to bring in Eriksen. We had to bring a lot of players. But right now, if you ask me, like you asked Gautam, it's clearly the mentality issue.
Parmeshwar, bringing to you like what Manish said. If Lukaku is not there, looks like there is something missing. And now, do you think Vice Lukaku is a option, is a thing that was missed this year? Like if Lukaku is not there, looks like we don't have any for threat going up front.
Oh yes, it's clearly a big problem. We do. It's clearly evident now by this point that we really need a Vice Lukaku, right? Because we can't rely on Andrea Pinamonti. Nothing against him, but he's not ready. You can clearly see that he was, subbed in against Shakhtar Donetsk, and you could see he's just not ready. That understanding with Lautaro Martinez or any other player on the pitch in our 11. He is not in sync, and when he came on against Parma as well, you could see, he was trying a few things. He was trying to hold on to the ball, but it was pretty easy to brush him off or push him closer towards the sidelines. So yeah, it's something very important. I hope the club addresses it in January because after watching Gervinho's goals yesterday, I was just reminded of the fact that Conte wanted him in the last few days of the Mercato. And I'm not clearly in favor of us signing Gervinho, but it just goes to show that even though he's not like a proper target man, maybe, just maybe, for these league games at least, he could have made the difference. And, Lukaku would have got that extra rest. Because yesterday, you could see Gervinho was not in the game that much, but the two chances he got, he latched onto the ball, he received the ball very well, and he finished it clinically. So, I don't know who our target would be if the management has identified this. But I mean, I wouldn't really mind Gervinho, as controversial as it sounds. I mean, ideally, I would have loved for Dzeko to come, but that whole saga took a different turn where he was close to Juventus, and then the whole thing collapsed. But I mean, addressing your question in general, I think it's a must, because we can see now Lukaku is probably going to miss matches up until Atalanta, and that's crucial. I mean, that's a lot. And as Maniche pointed out, we realized so much on Lukaku. I was reading the other day, 32.5% of the goals scored by Inter are scored by Lukaku. That's a lot. Such a significant chunk. So I really hope, we address this issue in January.
And also, Parmeshwar, this is to you. Some section of the fans are saying it's time to let go of Conte and bring back Spalletti. Do you think it's just a knee-jerk reaction, or do we wait?
I'll definitely say it's a knee-jerk reaction, because come on, you just look back at last season. Yes, we didn't win anything, we didn't win a trophy, but the improvements are there. The improvement was there. Finishing second in Serie A, finishing the runner-up in the Europa League. Yes, we didn't do well in the Champions League, but again, semi-final of the Coppa Italia. Now, if probably we had this depth last season, who knows? We could have won it last. Maybe we could have won at least one trophy, right? I don't know, because last year you clearly know our bench wasn't that good. We had to rely on Borja Valero, and then so many injuries. Agume had to come on in few games. He wasn't ready. So I mean, if you give him this squad last season, maybe we could have done it. But I don't know. It's just a knee-jerk decision, right? Because bringing Spalletti back, like, we all know the issues that existed under Spalletti. It was very one-dimensional. We would always look for Icardi. Like, yes, we do look for Lukaku now, but there are more of those players contributing in our play in general. It's not only Lukaku. They just look to feed to Lukaku, but there's like much more quality there now. With Spalletti, I'm not so sure this exact team would be motivated enough, because you watch everyone's interviews, why they ended up at Inter. It's all, half of them say, Antonio Conte, Lukaku, Hakimi, their agents. It's pretty much Antonio Conte. And yes, the improvement is there. I mean, we might play somewhat a similar style of game from last season, or almost every game, but the work rate, he's bringing out the best of players that aren't expected to do that well. You take Candreva as an example last season. He stepped up big time. I'm not a big fan of Gagliardini, but he somehow ends up fitting in our system, right, at the end of the day. So it's just a knee-jerk decision. I mean, these things are bound to happen. I know at this point, last season we had like 18 points, so we are already 7 points short. But it's like, it's a process at the end of the day. I mean, there's a long season to go, and I mean, there are so many games that are going to come. You never know, other teams could still drop point. I mean, Napoli had a shocker in their first game week in the Europa League, but they lost to AZ Alkmaar unexpectedly. So maybe Napoli could drop points, even though they're a strong side. Who knows, maybe Milan eventually comes short. You never know. There's a long season to go, so I really don't think sacking Conte is the way to go.
Manish, the same question to you. Is it like, what more can Conte do? Is it Conte's fault the results are happening this way, or the players need to step up and take some responsibility?
Okay, like certain things, if you check, Lukaku pointed out, Conte is like a father to me, father figure. So the confidence and the trust Conte places on Lukaku, I want Conte to place that equally on all the players. Because you know what, I feel players feel they're not part of the plan. Perisic seems out of place, Nainggolan seems out of place, Brozovic doesn't feel that love. So, and a Conte like a mentor, like a coach, like a big brother, you name it, what, he should sit down with players and make them feel part of the project. And Inter shirt, they had to fight for it. Because if you check, Lautaro sulking, Eriksen sulking, the overall atmosphere in the team is not that great. And that definitely shows on the results. Because if the team is happy, if they enjoy the football, the results will automatically come. I definitely think sacking Conte is really stupid at this point. Conte, we're building a project with him, a 3-year project. Getting back Spalletti is really stupid at this point. People talk about his salary, he's 12 million and stuff. You know what? He's a world-class coach. He won a lot of places. Forget keeping aside the Juventus history. On footballing terms, he's a good coach. He's been successful where he has been. So we have to trust in his process. So now, for example, if you get Pep Guardiola or you get any other coach, Pochettino, what do you think the salary is going to be? It's going to be the same, 12 or 15 or even not 20 million. So sacking him and getting another world-class coach is it's not a solution. So I'm happy with Conte. The tactics, yes, I think tactics, he has to be a little more flexible. He's been too rigid on tactics, three-man defense, no matter what. That I feel Conte could be more relaxed. And if sometimes if it's not working out, shift to a four-man defense, that can surprise the opposition. Because now oppositions pretty much know the way we play and what extent. Like you'd seen, Parma had just had 2 chances and 2 goals. Our backline was easily exposed. This happens with three-man defense once you play the high line. So to counter this, I think Conte should be a little more flexible in the tactics. A four-man defense maybe perhaps can solve this issue. But saying that, with the same formation, we are creating a lot of chances. So I don't know what more can I complain about.
Yeah, I mean, the three-man defense is, I mean, he's hell-bent on sticking to that no matter what. Parmeshwar, so next is Real Madrid in the Champions League, and we all know three-man defense doesn't work in Europe, and Conte is hell-bent on using it. Do you think we'll get a positive result, or is it a foregone conclusion that as long as we don't get battered, it's a good result?
So yeah, man, Real Madrid, this is definitely going to be tricky. I mean, regardless of what has happened, since the transition period and generally, them after them winning La Liga last season, this is a tricky one because you see how they started. They lost to Shakhtar, but again, then they fumbled against Mönchengladbach the other day. 2-0 down to, but you saw that they showed the fighting spirit until the literal last minute to make a comeback. So, they're capable of a lot of things. Now, with that being said, in those few games and in the league so far, they didn't have Eden Hazard. Like, he was a miss. He's had his own share of problems, fitness issues, injury problems, everything. But right now he's back. And in fact, I was watching them yesterday against USK, even though USK themselves are being not in form in general and all. Hazard, you could see that, I could see that he was getting back into his stride. Playing pretty well, feeling confident on the ball. I could see that with players like Marcelo, and albeit playing against smaller teams, weaker teams, this helps them build momentum in general. Their midfield, it's so dangerous, that midfield trio of Cruz, Casemiro, and Federico Valverde. It's the perfect blend. You have Cruz, a composed passer. He'll scan everything, keep the ball with him. It's not easy to dispossess him. Then you have Casemiro. He'll get into every tackle like Vidal pretty much, but more efficient, I feel. You would want to win the ball. Then Federico Valverde, I would say, if you had to relate him to someone at Inter, I would basically liken him to Barella. That box-to-box, energetic midfielder. He'll do anything. So that midfield is a perfect blend. And then Madrid also, like Shakhtar, do have pace at the end of the day. They have Vinicius Junior. Yes, as a kid, he has his shortcomings, but man, again, he's one of the best prospects out there. Now, if you put him against D'Ambrosio, let's say Skriniar is not fit, it's a problem once more. Then you have Benzema. He's so good at luring defenders out of position, So this is going to be really challenging. And they have this, they play their 4-3-3 in general. And it really depends which type of Madrid shows up, because what they did against Shakhtar was like us pretty much, even though it was a four-man defense, they pushed up so high, but there was a disconnect between Marcelo and Varane, as I pointed out in one of our previous pods. But it depends. Now it depends on what Conte does. Maybe they let us have the ball and then they decide to hit us on the counter because they have the pace, they have the passing precision. But again, what I was reading about their team news, just to cap it off, is that they won't have any of their natural right backs tomorrow. Like all of them are injured. Carvajal, Lucas Vazquez, even though he's a right winger more of. But yeah, so probably Eder Militao is going to play as right back. So again, we might have a chance to capitalize. But I don't know what Perisic is going to do on that front from the left. Like, can he really do that? And this game, like, Lukaku is going to be such a big miss, because when I look at Lukaku, we know his traits. And then when I see that Rafael Varane, even though he's one of the world's best defenders, he's error prone. He makes silly errors at times. And Lukaku would have been perfect to force him into those errors. And we're just going to miss that. And on that note, I'm very interested to see, as Maniche pointed out earlier, that Conte needs to be tactically flexible in general. So what does he come up with against Madrid? Like, what does he do? Because Perisic and Lautaro up front, yet again, I don't think that's a wise idea against Real Madrid. like, yes, even though we didn't beat Parma, it was still fine against Parma. But I don't think that's how he should go against Real Madrid. Maybe he tweaks to a 3-5-1-1 or 3-4-2-1. I don't know. But this is something he really needs to plan out and come up with something surprising for Zidane, because I'm pretty sure Zidane is studying us and he himself is a great manager, more than a tactical coach. So they're going to be prepared. I mean, you see they're at the bottom of the group and they'll definitely be prepared to win this one. I mean, Parma were in terrible form up until yesterday, and then they came up and they got a draw. So yeah, it's hard to put a finger on what they'll come up with. It's going to be a really tricky game.
Yeah, Manish, against Shakhtar, we had chances and we couldn't capitalize on it. Even though their keeper made an amazing save on Lukaku's free kick, we hit the crossbar and we didn't actually convert our chances. It could have been a one-off if it wasn't for the performance yesterday against Parma. I mean, we couldn't finish chances there again. Against Madrid, if you do that, you're surely going to lose, right? Like if you miss your chances, they're not going to give you chances on a plate, like chances after chances. No, it's going to be 1-2 chances. And if you don't finish, then it's gone. So what do you think, like what should be the mentality and process the team should follow? Do you get more physical in the midfield, break the momentum of Real Madrid, or sit back and let them push towards us?
Right. So I spoke about motivation some time back, and it doesn't get any bigger this match. You don't need Conte to motivate the players themselves. The opportunity to play Real Madrid, I think for many of them, it's first time, because we have quite a bit young players. There's like Bastoni, players like Barella. I think they're all facing Real Madrid for the first time. So on motivation level, yes, we are playing a big tournament. Players are motivated and they want to prove, because if you score against Real Madrid or you perform against Real Madrid, the whole world sees. So that's saying that should be more than enough. Plus, I think Conte should push more on the individual level on motivating the players for this game. Saying Conte, like I said, Conte in European level, he is quite defensive. I don't think we can disrupt Madrid. Madrid is the players are higher quality, players like Modric, Toni Kroos. You cannot shut them out. They're going to play their national football. So it'd be foolish to try to stop them from playing. Saying that I expect Conte to sit back, absorb the pressure, and release Hakimi or Lautaro on the counter. But how this game is going to shape up, I don't know, because if we check, Eden Hazard is back. He scored also last week. And if you all remember, Eden Hazard had a brilliant game with us some years back against, I think, Lille, when he was playing against Lille. Which team did he play for? Parmeshwar? Or what was the team's name previous to Chelsea? So you're on mute, Parmeshwar.
It was Lille.
Lille. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, they had even won the league. So yeah.
All right. Okay. So going back to it, Gautam. So Eden Hazard is back. They have Vinicius Jr. So they are quite pacey players. They have Rodrigo also, who's very pacey, and Asensio. So the thing is, our right center back position, that is the biggest question mark, because will D'Ambrosio start? I don't know. Skriniar, is he match fit? I don't know. So it'll be easy to take on our right center back one-on-one. So Conte, I don't know what he has to do, whether he shift to a four-man defense. Is this the game to shift? Or is it too risky? Or will he play it safe? Really don't know, Gautam.
But shifting to a four-man defense when we don't have defenders available, I mean, that is even more problematic now. If suppose someone gets injured, hopefully no one gets, but consider our luck this season, suppose De Vrij gets injured, then who do we replace him with, Manish?
That's the thing. So we hopefully get Skriniar back. I'm not sure of the fitness level of Skriniar, but he will be back. He'll be on the bench. We have Bastoni, we have De Vrij, we have Ranocchia. That are the only center backs we have. Putting Kolarov or D'Ambrosio in the defense at this stage will be really foolish, because Madrid will expose them. Like smaller teams like Jorginho, he can expose it. You can imagine then if you have Sancho, we have Benzema, they have Hazard, Vinicius Jr. They're very pacey and they can take on easily guys. So I'm expecting within the first 15 minutes, if our center backs are slow, we can get caught off position and they can easily score. So will Conte revert to four-man defense? I really don't know. but I think that would be the wise move based on the performances we're playing. We just won 2 in last 6. So that has been really a point of concern at this point.
Parmeshwar, so we spoke about depth of the team and stuff.
Mhm.
Do you think the depth was just an illusion now, considering the number of injuries and players not stepping up to the plate when the main 11 are injured? Someone in the main 11 is injured. The guy who is in the bench is not stepping up. He's not taking his chances to show that I am supposed to be in the starting 11. Do you think then the depth is just an illusion or it's just on paper? They are not practical on the field.
That's really an interesting question, because before the season began, all of us Inter fans pondered, we spoke so much about the depth, having so many bench options, and to a point that actually showed in the first game against Fiorentina, right, when Conte made those subs, Hakimi in, Alexis in, and we ended up scoring the winning goal thanks to a ball from Alexis to Hakimi, and that too, yeah. So sorry, the equalizer, my bad. But that's what. So it's a really tough one, because I'm not going to say it's an illusion. It's just down to the fact that I think they're not ready. Like some of the players, like as Maniche pointed out, Nainggolan. Yesterday, if I go back to Conte's press conference, he was asked about Nainggolan. Why doesn't Nainggolan start against teams like Parma? Like I thought he would start. He was like, there are some fitness issues, like he's not 100% and all that. And he was pretty stern in the way he said it. He was not like in a good mood. Of course, it was the draw, but I think it's down to that. Like I don't think all of them are in top condition, and it's also down to the fact that let's not forget we had 6 COVID cases, and then everything had become chaos. Everything had become chaotic. Ashley Young, Nainggolan, Gagliardini. Even though Gagliardini looked,
Parmeshwar, just to stop you there, just a thing. Just
Yeah.
wanted your opinion on what do you think on the players' body language, like Nainggolan, Eriksen, generally Perisic. What do you think the body language is? Because I feel like they seem completely offbeat, like disinterested. They don't have the motivation. I don't know. What do you say on that? Sorry to stop you there. Just wanted to
no
know.
issues. No issues, man. But that's a good point, actually. You're right. I mean, like with Perisic now, if you take an example at Bayern Munich, yes, he missed similar chances to what he did yesterday, but then you could see that motivation in him. Yes, he was in a far superior team and eventually won the treble, but I don't see that motivation in him right now, like what he showed at Bayern. I don't know what it's down to, maybe because of the way he was shipped off, because of the issues. And with Eriksen, it's tough. It's hard to say, because he's spoken of not being a starter, and then he started yesterday, and you couldn't see that spark. With Brozovic all along, it's all just him flailing his arms in the air. And yesterday he goes on and he puts a good show. In fact, after coming on, scoring the goal, and he actually tried to make the difference. It's tough to say, because Lautaro also, he started the season so well, like he was he scored in 3 consecutive games, and then he's fallen off again. So what? Yeah, it is down to the mentality. I agree. That's a part of it, but I also feel there is somewhere there is a lack of match sharpness and that physical preparation that Conte always speaks of. Somewhere if you watch his press conferences either before the match or post game, he always mentions it once. Like some of them are not in the prime physical condition he wants them to be in. He always says that with Nainggolan, with Pinamonti. So that is lacking, and it's such a I don't know, it's such a dilemma, because finally we have this depth, the depth we've been asking for all these years. Last season we missed the depth, before that we've missed the depth, and finally when we have it, we don't know what to do with it. Like it's like Conte is spoiled for choice, and yeah, it's like it's difficult for him because of this depth to put a finger on, yes, I have to play this guy at this point, at this point, where do I play this guy? Even though we see more of a consistent 11 in our games, I still feel he has doubts about his 11 in general, because I thought personally once Vidal was signed, it was going to be Vidal, Barella, Eriksen. Like I was pretty sure about it. But now that, yes, Eriksen has not been up to par a bit. I agree to that yesterday also. So he has doubts. Like, do I start fielding Brozovic? And then, us fans are asking questions, what's going on with Raja Nainggolan? And yeah, it's a dilemma. I mean, now you, like, he probably thought, I'll continue playing Perisic and Young at left wing back. But then Darmian steps up. Darmian does a good job to his credit, no doubt about that. So now again, there's another dilemma sort of in a good way that should I, continue playing Darmian at left wing back and Hakimi on the right to keep that balance so that the midfield in a way stays balanced and maybe then Eriksen can feature more. So it's a dilemma. So just to cap it off, when I feel players at times say they don't get enough chances, especially Eriksen, although I've been supportive of him and I will be supportive of him, I feel he's one person who needs to be a bit patient because the season is long. There are so many games to come thick and fast. You're playing 3-4 days, every 3-4 days. He will get his chances. He got it against Parma. There has to be heavy rotation. Otherwise, we are going to suffer the same fate, injuries. And then eventually the bench would be depleted, in the coming games. So yeah, it's a dilemma, but let's see how he handles it. I just hope he finds his perfect 11 soon, although it seems that it's there. But I feel he has those minor doubts as to who needs to start week in and week out apart from De Vrij, Barella and Lukaku.
Yeah, and Manish, like previous seasons, like previous teams, we had vocal leaders like Lucio, we had Cambiaso, we had Zanetti. Now it looks like the leader is not present in the team on the pitch. You have Conte barking orders from the sidelines, but no one is taking responsibility to be a leader on the pitch. Handanovic, as the captain, should be more vocal, I feel, and should be more. He should express more. That's the complaint everyone has. Like he's non-expressive at all. So with Vidal coming in, you need someone who's like assertive on the pitch and motivate the players. Do you think we are missing someone of such a character, even though there is Vidal right now, someone who like motivates the team when situations are down and when we are not scoring or things are not going our way? Just say like it's okay, we can get the goal, and be the motivating factor on the pitch.
See, right now, if you ask me, yes, that's true. Handanovic, although he's been a captain, he's not vocal. And I have the same issue with him because, as a captain, you must feel the presence felt. Be it players like Steven Gerrard, Sergio Ramos, when they step on the pitch, Francesco Totti, they all step in the pitch, they have the aura with them. Players listen to them, their personality is magnetic. That we are losing right now because Handanovic pretty much is like Eriksen, not showing emotions. So when I think right now we have just one leader on the pitch, that's Lukaku, because he's the one rallying the team forward. He's the one which says, come on, keep pressing, keep pushing. He's the one on the field showing instructions. So yes, you're saying that the same issue was there last year, Gautam, if you check. And Conti said, who do we have? We don't have any champions. We had Barella, we have Sensi, or just like Sassuolo and Cagliari players. We don't have those quality champions. For that, we signed experienced guys now. We signed Arturo Vidal, we signed Kolarov, we signed Ashley Young. They're all experienced in their level. But, like you said, we lack the central figure. The team revolves around him. If you ask me, I would say yes, Lukaku is the guy right now. Without Lukaku, like you see, the team is disjointed. There's no communication happening. Same errors keep happening. So would it be advisable to change the captain? I don't know how that. But I think in long run, if this result continues, we must get a more vocal captain. Getting a captain to Lukaku definitely will make the team more motivated.
Yeah, and now for the predictions, we have like been hopeful every podcast, and the players have been like in some other world and not stepping up. So against Madrid, what do you think will be the scoreline? Parmeshwar, come to you first.
So yeah, so to bear in mind that we are going to play them back to back, first away and then home. Not that it really matters anymore with the lack of fans, but still, since it's an away game or however you want to consider it, I'm either going for a hopeful 2-1 win or maybe a 1-all draw. But at least for the first leg, as of now, let's see, because Lukaku for me is going to be a big miss. I really wish he was there. I think this is the game, especially with their natural right backs being out. This is one game where we could have taken them. And yeah, our absentees are going to be a big miss. Like there's no guarantee of Alexis being there either, right? And Sensi is not going to be there as well. So either 1-all draw or a 2-1 win for us, being hopeful.
And Manish, what do you think is going to happen in the match?
See, I just want to point out one thing. In the last game and over the last few games, we had so much corners after corners. We're not able to capitalize. We are strong aerial players like Ranocchia, De Vrij, Bastoni. They are good in the air. Conte must focus on that corner because team against Real Madrid, you won't get much chances. It might be just one awkward corner which we get in, we have to score. So I hope Conte works on the set pieces, and we have the players for that. Kolarov and Eriksen who can whip in great corners. So we must take our chances. If we don't take our chances, then I don't know what to say. I'm expecting the worst. Let's hope I jinx it. I'm expecting a defeat, maybe 3-1 or 2-1 defeat. Like I said, I'm hopefully jinxing it. Hopefully, can get a point. Getting a point at this stage will be really useful against Real Madrid away. Yeah, that's my prediction, Gautam.
You took the words out of my mouth because I'm not hopeful at all in this match, and I am also thinking it's going to be a 3-1 loss to us. And something, as long as we don't get hammered 5-1 or 6-1, I think I'll be happy with the result because with Lukaku missing, and as seen the previous weeks, the players are just not stepping up to the plate. And against Madrid, as Maniche said before, you don't need extra motivation. It's Real Madrid you're playing against. And these guys are young. It's like the biggest team most of them have faced the first time. And you don't need extra motivation for these matches. But saying that when you don't perform consistently week in and week out, and on back of your mind, you see that you drop 2 points against Parma. So that might also play in the player's head that maybe we cannot win. And I think that would affect the result. And I'm thinking we lose 3-1 against Madrid. All right, folks. So that's it for this podcast. We'll see you after the match.